But here there is something that I can use, and that is this sweeping arm here, which is like a kind of reaction wood that's grown. Let's go out a little bit. Okay, it's so little now. I think it's good now. I might have made a mistake here. I think perhaps that should have been 1 centimetre higher up, which I'll have to just put a piece of wood in. I could bring them down a bit lower, cut these all down, but then the piece of timber would have to be higher in the wall to do that. Now, I've just put this one in place. It's a little bit tight at the moment, but so you can do this several ways. You can use your adjustable ruler, like 3 or 4 blocks, for example. Just 4 blocks. You could measure it from there down to the line, 14 millimeters. But what I like to use in these situations, if it's handy, is my calipers, and then I don't have to use numbers from one side to the other. The numbers can get lost in the mix. I've got those numbers there. I mean, I've got my calipers, I don't need the numbers, so. Right, this one doesn't look like it's very square actually, so I think I'm going to follow a kind of cross between those two. So I can kind of see, can you see how my pencil line there, I didn't really need that pencil line doing it this way. So this, I can see this piece of timber isn't quite square, so I think that line is better. It's parallel to the central line. 7.4. It's about 7.4, that one as well. So I'll stick with that. But can you see how that would work? Because this piece of timber is vertical to its ideal centre point, I can put this piece of timber in at its exact 27 degrees and then use it to draw off. Because now I just have to lower it down through one axis, not kind of 3-dimensionally, but 2-dimensionally. In the vertical axis. I do this a lot with building timber houses. Lufter houses are built in this way. Everything is lowered down through the vertical axis. So by using that and the bubbles in the right place, as long as this is correct, it shows the angle that it should be. Also, the piece of timber has to be vertical as well. So I've got about 3 or 4 degrees to go. I've got to take more out of here, otherwise I don't have enough depth. I think that's good enough really. I don't want to go too deep. I got a little bit of, I've got like 4 or 5 millimeters there that I can adjust it when it's up on the roof. I like not to go too far with these things. I can also cut off this bit here because it's a lot of work to get that little bit at the bottom there empty. You have to use extra tools and things, so it's actually much quicker just to cut that off and then you don't have to go all the way to the bottom. This doesn't even have to be that shape, it could even be like this shape, it would still work. It could still be square and still work really nicely. I suppose this is called a bird's mouth, is it? Maybe. I remember being told what it was on the last building that I did 2 years ago. That was what I was told then by one of my trusty subscribers, so thanks very much. Can't really see it anymore. The distance across is 20. Made it maybe a tiny bit smaller to 10, and then 3.5. That's half of 7. 7. The depth on the other one was 3, so I'll do the same here. So that's going to go, that's going to go, and that'll stay. I'll do the same at the other end. Now the way I did the measuring was I just went up there and I measured the other one. It would have been probably more rational to do them both at the same time, but I'm not the most rational of people, so I didn't do it like that. Or, to put it this way, I don't trust my rationale. I trust my eyes. The tenon there needs to be 7. That's correct. I must say I'm getting a bit impatient just to cut these and put them up. I know I shouldn't do that, but I've got to start work on Monday, and I want to at least get that bit done. Because now that these other bits have been cut, these angles, there'll be a little hop in production now, because once this one goes up, those are already cut. So I'll have to sort out the king post. I think they're called king posts, the ones that go in the middle of the gable to hold up the ridge beam. We call that Mørns Ås. By using a ridge beam, it gives me lots of flexibility. I'll use a big one like this, which gives me loads of centimetres to lengthen or shorten the joists that I've got. I could push them right out because they don't have to have a great deal of contact with the ridge beam. 5 or 6 centimetres is enough, really. Or they can go right up together or even past each other. So I've got all of that adjustability in the width of the building like that. But hopefully I don't need it because I've used the maths to sort it all out. don't know if I spoke for 20 minutes then or not. I'm just made this crane for an experiment. I've never made one, I've never used one, but I've always been curious about how well they work. I don't think it worked. I think it was slow, you know, it was slow last time. It would have been quicker just to lift a piece of wood up on my shoulder. But they're quite heavy and I'm getting a bit older. I don't want to hurt my back. I want to try and extend my working life as long as I can, and maybe a tool like this, if I learn how to use it well, will be really useful in the future. I can use it for all kinds of parts, to lift them up so that I don't have to use raw power to do it. I'd rather save my energy for using the hand tools, which uses a lot of energy. So that gives me a long working day if I'm not exhausted from moving around big pieces of timber. I try and keep them on the fulcrum so that you're always minusing the bit that's hanging out the other end of the fulcrum from the bit that you're lifting. So if this weighed 100 kilos and that bit there is 40, then this is 60 kilos minus 40. So I'm only lifting 20 kilos. That's perfectly okay to lift, it's easy. I can lift the whole thing if I want to as a dead weight, but it's very tiring to do that. I'd have to have longer breaks and more rest time and stuff. It's like the same thing of lifting them up already put together. I didn't use very much effort at all because I was using the machine to do the effort, just did it slowly. It would have been more effort to put them up first and then put the pieces on, as someone thought would be better. It might have been quicker, and if there were two of us, or if I was getting paid for doing this, then I might have done it differently. But this is just an experiment, it's for fun. These things can be done without much effort. Make a big difference to working like this on your own, I think. So I'm using that as a fulcrum there, to take that weight. It's not heavy. Off there. Hardly any weight on that, really. It's very light. So that was certainly a great deal quicker than the last one. So you live and learn, huh? So I'm quite glad that there aren't kids and dogs running around now, because they're a little bit dangerous, these things, when they're just resting up on things. I'm working on my own today, that's good. I wasn't sure how heavy it was going to be. Not very heavy though. You see it's pretty light now, because of the counterweight. So I'm lifting about 25 kilos, maybe 30. It's not too heavy. It's really I'm sure it looks really dangerous, but I assure you, I'm being very careful. So it's 6 or 7 centimetres of snow, but it's not that cold in here now. I don't know, it's about +3 maybe, +4.